Mesechta Zevachim, Daf Mem Gimel Amud Beis, 10 lines from the bottom. So we said the only one that can explain the Braisa of Visvadat Suzain is Zehidi. So yesterday we did the Psukim, the Pasik of Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Avdina, how we explain it. Today we're going to explain the Braisa according to Rabbi Ziri. It's 10 lines from the bottom. Masnisa says, you wonder which Pirish did Zehidi say such a beautiful Pirish on the Braisa? Yeah, Mem Gimel Amud Beis, 10 lines in the bottom. The Tanya that we learned in the Braisa. In Teres Kainim it says in the Pasha of eating Kodesh, like Tuma Maisasheni, but Tuma Saguf. So now, Im Nemru Kalis Lamanama Chamuris. Since he already mentioned the Kalis, the lighter Kedusha, we're going to say what the lighter Kedushas are, which are the Chamor. So since he already mentioned the lighter Kedushas of the foods, eating Betuma, why does he have to mention the Chumrah? And if it says the Chamuris, what do you have to say Kalis? What? Oh, so he starts explaining. He says like this: in the Makalis, if it only say the Kalis v'loy Chamuris, let me tell you what the Kalis are. Maybe it's worth to say ahead of time. The Kalis are Maisa Sheni. Maisa Sheni is the minute somebody eats it. First, Maisa Sheni is only a lav, and Truma, but if you ate it while you were tummy. So he says, Imna Makalis, if it speaks about the lighter ones like Maisa Sheni, but Loy Chamuris, if the Torah would only mention a person who's tummy that eats Maisa Sheni, that eats Chayav Malkus, when he's tummy. So I would have said, Allah Kalis B'lav. Only if he ate Maisa Sheni, which is a lighter Isur, Bituma, while he was tummy, there it's a lav, there he gets only Malkus. But Valachamuris, Bemisa, but if he ate Truma, which is much more Chamadike Isur, I would say he's Chayim Misa B'dei Shamayim. L'kach Nema Chamuris. That's why it says over here Chamuris.
My father said he left his glasses here.
So that's why it says Chamuris, to tell you that even if he ate Truma while he's tummy, he's not going to be Chayiv Misa, he's going to be Chayiv just Malkus. If the Torah would only spoke about a case where somebody was tummy, he's tummy and he ate Truma, and he ate Truma. So if he ate the Truma while he was tummy. Now we're using the Chamura, not Maisa Sheni, but like Nemakalis, and he would have not spoken about a case that he ate Maisa Sheni. I would have said, Chamura is Chayiv. He ate Truma, yeah, there he's Chayiv Malkus. Kalis, but if he ate only Maisa Sheni, you ate Pata, it'll be Pata. Lekach Nemakalis. That's why the Torah had to mention Kalis to teach you that even on Kalis.
Really say that they eat the Kalis and get nothing?
That he's going to be Chayiv Malkus. No, it'll be like Isa. You don't have to be Chayiv Malkus. But starting with punishments is already much shorter. It's starting already heavy. In fact, one of my Kalis and my Chamuris, I already told you, but he's going to now go through it. What is the Kalis? What's the Chamuris? Ilem Kalis Maisa. The Chamurmura is Truma. If you're going to say the Kalis is he ate Truma while he was tummy, he ate Maisa. That's the Kalis. And the Chamuris, what did he eat? The Truma while he was tummy. Says the Gemara, I have two problems here. What are you saying? I would have thought that Truma is Chayav Misa, and that's why I had to say he ate Truma, the case while he was tummy, he ate Truma, to tell you he's not going to be Chayav Misa. What are you talking about? You're saying I would have thought he's Chayav Misa, but really not just Malkus. Hashtanami Behava Misa, the halach is, the Torah state Beferish, he's Chayav Misa B'dei Shamayim, if he ate the Truma. Truma. Yeah, Besu, and even more so, even if they say the Eloi Nama, in the Torah did not speak about, it only spoke about Maisa Shena, it wouldn't say Chamuris, and in the Torah state Tuma Yechayev for eating Chamura, for eating Tuma Yechayev Misa. You said Hayisiyim, I would have said B'Misa. If the Torah, forget about the Torah wouldn't have it. Stop. I would say Maisa. If I would only said the case of a person being tummy eating Maisa. Only that there he's Chayiv Malkus, so I would have said, but if he ate Truma, he gets a degree higher, Misa.
We don't know which Misa.
Okay, Misa B'dei Shamayim, you start off with the lowest Misa. Frankly, why would you say that? You're learning out from Maisa because mice is a lower Yisr and it gets Malchus. Truma is more Chamadik, he's going to give Misa B'dei Shemaim. In fact, when you're learning out from something, a punishment, you cannot learn that it's more than from where you're learning out. You want to learn out from Maisa. The Torah says only in the case of a Talmudic person eating Maisa, he gets Malchus. So you want to learn out for Truma. You want to say, if you say Malchus, I understand. You want to say for Truma, he gets even more than what
But
from
that's
where
the
you are.
most we can learn at.
Right, you can't learn.
Maybe you're supposed to get
You
more,
maybe, but you
can't
can.
learn.
If you're learning out from that, you can only learn as far as that is. The punishment of Malchus. It says, you might be right. So I have to tell you a different shot than Kalas and Chamuris. Because so far it doesn't make sense. Ella Kalois to Masheretz. Kalois is the person now. Not the food was a lighter Isser, Maisa Sheni, or Chomedik Isser, Truma. Now, what does it mean, Kalis and Chamuris? It means the person.
Himself.
What kind of Tuma is he holding? Does he have? Tuma Sheretz? So Tuma Sheretz. Or Tuma Mes, exactly. So Tuma Sheretz is a Tuma Kala. You take yourself, you're off. And Tuma Sheretz is already a Avatuma, and if something touches a Sheretz, it becomes a Rishik. Chamurais is Tumas Meis. First of all, Tumas Meis is 7 days, Tamei. And you need the Paraduma, you need the ashes, and you have to burn the ashes. It's much more Chamar. And it makes a Avatuma if it touches something. So that's why it's more Chamar. So, in fact, I hear you. You want to learn, Kalois is the person became Tamei with a Sheretz. Chamuris, he became Tommy Tumas Meis. Let's understand.
It would be a different than the punishment also.
Oh, so let's learn the pshat in the Brais like this. Ubamai. So now, what type of food did he eat while he was Tomei as a Tomei Sheretz or Tomei Meis? Truma, if he ate Truma while he was, let's say, a Tomei Sheretz, a light Iser, still, either the Hubba Misa. The halach is they both. Even if it's a Tumah Sheretz, if he eats Truma or Maisa, the halach is that he's going to get Misa B'dei Shemayim. So how's the B'raisa say that Tumah Sheretz, he only gets Malchus? We want to say the lighter Tumah gets Malchus. It's not Shaykh. Besu, and even more Ishvel, Lekach, Nemru, Chamur is the Belav. He says that's the reason why he mentioned Tumas Meis, that when he, as a that the chomoduke tuma, that what kind of a tuma was he when he ate the Maisa Sheni, or when he ate the tuma, he was a Tomei Meis. In fact, the mother, how could you say that's why you said it to tell you he's only Chai b'Malchus? What are you talking about? If he's a Tomei Meis that ate either one of the Misa, he's the Misa. So the Yemara, so about the Ibachlis Maisa, he says like this. So that's if he ate Truma. And Ibachlis Maisa, if it's talking about he ate Maisa Sheni, you said, how does the Braisa say? Im lo yinamru chamuris, hayisi, aymeres ala chamuris b'misa. So now he's going back that what did he eat? He himself, let's say he was Tomei Meis. If the Braisa is talking about he ate Maisa Sheni as either Tumas Sheretz, he says Kalois is going to be Tumas Sheretz, Chamuris is going to be Tumas Meis, and till now we spoke about Truma. Truma, no matter how you slice it, whether it's he was Tomei Sheretz or Tomei Meis, if he ate Truma, he's still going to be Chayv Misa. It doesn't matter what kind of Truma he contracted. Eating the Truma, whatever Truma it is Chayv Misa. So you want to say he ate Maisa Sheni? Says you want to eat Maisa Sheni? So im loy namer chamuris. You said if it wouldn't have said the chamuris of that this person as a Tomei Meis ate the Maisa Sheni, ala chamuris b'misa. I would have said that the chamuris, if he ate as a Tomei Meis the Maisa Sheni, I would have said he's Chayv Misa. But yeah, now we want to learn. Till now we said. The pshat was that what's the kal? The kal is sheretz, that's the tomei, and the chumen is the misa. Now we could talk about what did he eat. So the Gemara start off. Maybe it's talking about a case he ate truma. So the Gemara doesn't make sense. If he ate truma, it doesn't matter if he had a kal diket tuma sheretz or he had a chumne diket tuma of mace. It's always going to be misa. You want to say truma is truma, right? And it doesn't matter. So how could you say if it was Kal, he would have had Malchus? It's not. Both of them are Misa. Says he okay, it's not. He didn't eat Truma. He ate Maisa Sheni, and that's where the chilik will be. Sufficient if he was Tommy Sheretz or Tommy Mace. Says let's understand. You see, if it wouldn't have said the case of that he contracted Tumas Mace, if it wouldn't have said that case, it would only Tumas Sheretz and he ate Maisa Sheni. You would have said, if I wouldn't have mentioned Chamuris, then I would have said, if he was Tumas Mace and he ate Maisa Sheni, he would be Chayiv Misa. How do you jump to Chayiv Misa? If you're saying Tumas Sheretz eats Maisa Sheni, he's only Chayiv Malchus, so he's asking the same kasha as before. And you're learning out Tumas Mace eating Maisa Sheni from Tumas Sheretz. So Tumas Sheretz, the punishment, the biggest punishment is Malchus. So how could you go ahead and say, but if he was Tommy Mace, which you want to learn out from Tumas Sheretz, eating Maisa Sheni, he'll be Chaim Misa? How could you jump to Misa? You can't learn Daya Labanadin Lis Kenodin. You can't learn out more than the Nidoin. Says, you want to Zidi explains like this. Kalois, let's mention the Braisa, that is Tumas Sheretz. Chamuris is Taka Tumas Mace. We'll still stick to that shot. It's the kind of tumor that he got, either a lighter tumor he was carrying on himself or a harder one. And this is how you have to say it. Ilu nama tumas sheretz, v'nama maisu truma. If the Torah would have mentioned by only the tumas sheretz that he was tumas sheretz, and you said, and he ate maisu and truma or truma, by maisu shen you can say he's chayim malchus. And by Tuma he's going to be Chayev Misa. And it wouldn't say the case of Tumas Meis. You see, I'm a Kalis by Achlis. But Kalis meaning he was Tumas Sheretz. It's ala Kalis. And ala Kalis. And he ate Kalis. He was a Tumas Sheretz. And he ate Kalis.
No, you say either Maisa or the Truma.
No, you see, if it wouldn't say Tumas Meis, right?
We don't say Tumas Sheretz.
Tumas Sheretz.
Nemma Maisa.
Ayisi Oima Kalis. Kalis meaning the person who became only a lighter tumah, it was only a sheretz. And Al HaKalis, and what's the thing that he ate? Maisa Sheni, which is also Kal. Belav. That's where he gets the punishment of Malchus. It's Belav. Two Kalis. Al HaChamuris, but if he would have eaten Truma, B'misa, he would be Chai Misa B'dei Shemaim, even though he's a Tumas Sheretz, but if he eats Truma, Chai Misa. So Medekal is Al HaChamuris B'misa. From now that you said here, Sheretz, eating Truma is Misa, you call to Chamor. Chamuris Nami Al HaKalis. What's Chamuris? If he's Tommy Mace and he eats the Kal, the Maisa Sheni, I would also say B'misa. Because just like by this Kal, you say if it's a mixture of a Kal and a Chamor, you say it's Misa B'dei Shamayim. If the Kal is Sheretz and he eats a Chamor, Truma. So when you have a mixture of Kal and Chamor, you say it's Misa, so I would say the same thing. So you start off with Chamor, he's a Tumei Meis, and he ate a Kal, so you have a mixture of Chamor and Kal. So it's a B'misa. No, the Kach Never Chamuris. That's why he said the case of Chamuris, that if it's going to eat Maisa Sheni, he's going to be Malchus. Only if he eats Tumah will he be Chayiv. Even though he's Tumas Mes. That's it. That was my chart I made for myself to be clear. Is that either way it's Misa. If it's a mixture of Tumas Chal and Tumas Mes. Yeah, okay. Now it starts much easier, Gemara. So the Gemara, we said anything that becomes mutter.
Going back to Piggle now?
Very good. So something that's matter. It's like the basar becomes mutter because of the dam, right? The basar for shlamim to be able to eat, or by a oila the emurei chatas that mizbeach could burn the emurim is only through the avodah of dam. So he says bein adam, whether it's the being matter the person to eat it, bein la mizbeach or being whether it's being matter the mizbeach to burn it. If he had a machshavas pigel in the zika, one of the shchita ilacha v'hiva, Any of I'm sorry, Kabbalah, Hilacha, or Zika, if he had the wrong machshava, so the basa, whether it's the achilas basa, achila that a person is eating of a shlamim, or whether it's a oila that the imunah is possible. And if you eat it, it's pigel and you chayv kares. Huh?
Three things about shkita.
It's the shchita, there's Kabbalah, Hilacha, and Zika, the four avodas. In any of the four avodas, if he had a machshava chutz lizmanoi, then it's pigel and he's chayiv kares if he eats the pigel. We learn out, where does pigel say, the actual concept of pigel, the din of the whole idea of pigel is Yeshim by Shlomim. It's written Dafke by Shlomim. So now our shaila is going to be state not by Shlomim. So our shaila is, does it is does oh
you don't eat.
yeah, but the mizbeach eats it. So he says like this: you're learning out from Shlomim, so it has to be similar to Shlomim. That means only those that are similar to Shlamim and those that are not. So we're going to talk about it now. In fact, you want to talk about it since it's the whole concept, idea of pigel is written by Shlamim. Should I say it's only similar to Shlamim? And in what way? Just like a Shlamim is eaten with a day extra, 2 days and 1 night. So I'll say only those kabbanis, only those kabbanis,
Which are they?
so he brought them down. No, 2 days and 1 night. He let me see which number is this? 4. Dash Rachamim. Let me see. He doesn't bring down. The Gemara will bring down which are the cases. The Gemara will say, okay. The Gemara really will say, okay, Afkol. So too, every cup, didn't pigel. So that's where, B'chayr Mais Behema is din pigel. That's it. B'chayr Mais Behema, the din is, I'm sorry, Shnei Yom L'Layla Echad. Okay? B'chayr Mais Behema also has the same din. Am I right? By the B'chayr? Go to the B'chayr. It's 2 days and 1 night. Shnei Yom L'Layla Echad. The B'chayr HaMaisa Behema is both. So it's the same thing. So that's why I said in my head. So those two are right. So he says Nachal Yom, but he said, how about a comment that's Nachal Yom Alayla, that's only a day and a night? How do you know if it's also pigmanayim? From where do we learn out there's a dim pigel? And if you want to Tamalayim in the pasuk, it says Mipsar is Zevach Shlomim, the Shlomov. It's extra. This pasuk is extra. Why is it extra? It's in the beginning of the pasuk is v'im hey ochel ye ochel mishlamav, but instead of mishlamav it says mipsa zevach shlamav. He could have written mishlamav and left out the words mipsar and zevach. So we learn now from the extra word mipsar that even if it's a carbon that's for 1 day and 1 night, not 2 days like a shlamim, is also has the din of pigel. So you want to call Shirav Nacholim. How it comes to Oila Shein Shirav Nacholim. What about an Oila that the Shirayim is there's no Shirayim? Why? Because by Oila everything is burnt. So how do we before you almost said there's no dinner pigel and how do we know Taka there's no that there is a dinner pigel? Because Zevach is also extra. He should have said Shlomo. Why did he have to say Mipsa? That's the extra word. And Zevach. Okay. So Zevach tells us that even Oila has the din of pigel. How do we know to include Chatas Ha'if, Oilas Ha'if? They're not, there's no Shechita there. So it's like a novela. There's Malika. So how do we know there's the din of pigel? There's no Shechita. How do we know there's a dim pigel? Says you're already asking. We said in the Mishnah by Aloy Shaman Shaman also. Where do we know that there's the concept of pigel? Says because it says in the pasuk, B'negeya to Tuma, at the beginning of the pasuk is V'yinazru Mikach B'nei Yisrael Asheya Heim Makdishim Li. By Tumah it includes Asher Hey Makdishimli is coming to include all karbanis, every type of a
The
carbon.
holy stuff.
Yeah, everyone has the din of pigul. Says you want to Asi Noisa. Now the Isa of Noisa, how do we know by Noisa? The Isa of Noisa, Matanish Ibel wasn't from the flesh. You can't let it over, and if it's left over, Noisa Remeno, you start a beish. But there's a Isa of Noisa. So how do we know Noisa applies to all kabbanis? So he says Chilu Metuma. We make a Gzeira Shava.
Could you have Noisa and Pigel at the same time?
Yeah, but 1 minute. First of all, where do we learn out? Chilul Mituma. It says B'Pashas Neisa the Lashon Chilul, and it says also the Lashon Chilul by Tuma. Where do we see that? By Tuma it says V'Yinas Mekach B'nei Yisrael V'Lo Yichalalu Asher Magdish Mali. It says Chilul, and by Neisa it says V'Oichla Avnei Yisrael Ki Es Kodesh Hashem Chilel. So we learn now just like Chilul Mituma, the Asi Pigel oven. Okay, so we say just like by Tuma, it includes every carbon. Tuma is the Isa of Tuma is by every carbon. So too we say by Noisa. Now Pigel we learn out for Noisa. We also oven. We have Gzeira Shava oven for Noisa. It says in the Pashas of Pigel oven, and in the Pashas of Noisa it says oven. It says by Noisa Oichlav Avonoi Yisa, and it says by Pigul Hanav Shayichel's Mimenu Avonoi. It says oven. So just like by Noisa, we said it refers to all kabbanis. So too Pigul is by all kabbanis.
2 times over.
Yeah. So it's a Gzeira Shava, just like by Noisa, by the Isa of Noisa applies to all kabbanis. So too Pigul. Says the Gemara Machash is called if we included that Pigul is by everything from a Gzeira Shava, so why do we have to say Dafka by Shlamim? All the details we learn out from the Gzeira Shava.
From Noisa.
From Noisa. And Noisa we learn out from Tumah, so why do we need? Yeah, why do we have to say by Shlamim? It says, he wants to tell you, only if it's something that's being materet, like we said. In our Mishnah we said, koimetz, there's nothing being mater the koimetz. That's the beginning of the Aveda. But the basa becomes mutter to eat by a shlamim because something was matter. One of the Avedas, the zika, was matter, the basa. So only which part becomes a pigul, something that has to come on to something else to be matter it. But the first part of the Aveda that has nothing being matter it, no dinner pigul. That's what we learn out from Shlomo. And I exclude which ones as Hakometz, as Lavena, Ba'akteris, U'Minchas Kahana, U'Minchas Mashiach, U'Minchas Nesachim, Ba'Adam. We already said this in the Mishnah. These are all cases that there's nothing making them mutter. So therefore there is no din of pigul. Only something that became mutter through one of the Avedas that has a din of pigul. Okay. Rab Shimon Leimer, he says no, the Shlamim, the pigul that's written by Shlamim comes to tell us even more of a chiddush. That Mar Shlamim Yicham Sheish by Al HaMizbeach HaChitz Mechayev Alav. So he says, just like by Shlamim, the Ikar Aveda, which is the Zrika, where was the Zrika done by Shlamim? By the Mizbeach HaChitz. So he says, Av Kol Sheish Noim Al Mizbeach HaChitz Chayav Mishum Pigul. Only a similar Aveda, only a carbon that the Hazoyis Hadam was done by Mizbeach HaChitzin has the din of Pigul. Yatzu, Param Anusafim, Sim Anusafim, like the Par Helam Dava, Par Koin HaMashiach, that She'ein HaMizbeach HaChitzin Kishlamim, She'ein Chayom Alav Mishum Pigul. There the blood was not sprayed by the Mizbeach HaChitzin. In the Heichel, it was done by the Mizbeach HaPnim. You said it right. Par Helam Dava, the Par Koin HaMashiach, that's the Param Anusafim, Sim Anusafim, their blood was in the Heichel. So it's not similar to the Shlamim. Okay? Zog the Gemara, the Tana had taught us, maybe the pasuk is not, maybe it's only talking about Kayetz v'Shlamim, only a carbon that's similar to Shlamim. My Nihu, what would be a carbon, what were we thinking is a carbon similar to Shlamim? That's 2 days and 1 night. So I told you from the Siddur. Here he says, B'chayr, we got it right. The Nechal l'shnei yom v'layla echad, like a shlamim, and Maisa too. But my Asi says the Gemara, how would you have learned Bechayr from shlamim? Yeah, they're the same, 2 days and 1 night. But he says, what's the limud? You're going to say just like shlamim, it's a binyanav, just like shlamim, 2 days and 1 night. So and there's the din of pigul. Bechayr, 2 days and 1 night is similar. Has a din of pigul. If you're learning it out with a binyan av, I can slug it up right away. Shlamim is way more complicated with much more details. You need to lean the hand, the balabas has to lean his hands on the behema. You have to pour wine with it. You have to wave. You have to do a waving with the chaza, with the thigh, and the breast, and the shake and the thigh. So there's much more details. We learn it out from Hey Achiyachal, which is 2 klalim, and then it says the lashon, that's the 2 klalim, and then it says shlamav, which is a prat. So we learn it out from a klal prat to klal. You have to done elkein a prat. In fact, you're learning out from a klal prat to klal. In fact, you have 3 klali. The smicha hadadininu. There are 2 klalim. Im Hey Achiyachal was written 2 klalim together, and the shlamav was written after the 2 klalim. How could you call that a klal or prat to klal? Klal or prat to klal means that the prat is in between. Wherever you find 2 klalis, like here, next to each other, hatel prat by name, and there's a prat after it, place the prat between them, but don't have klal prat. You do it like a klal prat. Where do I learn out that by the lake Shem Tzeda that has a dinner pigel? Who says that? Who is the Tana? The Tanya we learned in Rabbi's lake Shem Tzeda Chayav Malav Mishum Pigel, that the lake Shemen of a Mitzeda, how was it done? A Mitzeda, when he was cured, he would have to bring karbanis. Amongst them was a asham. Sprayed the dam, and after he sprayed the dam, he put the dam in the ear, right ear, right thumb, right toe. Same thing with the shemen. Very good. He thinks okay. So he says, so Yechayev Hashem Dimrab Meir. So the Sefer says, but look in the Sefer. It says Minchas Nisachim V'Hadam. Nisachim was also brought with a carbon with asham, and there we said Asan Rabbanan. It goes according to Rabbanan that it doesn't become pigul. So it says Stira, the Tanya that we learned Tavaisa. Niski behema chayom alem mishum pigul. The niski behema you are chay mishum pigul mepnei dam shadam azav matin likara, because the dam is matter the nesachim. Is matter the behema to be sacrificed. There we have meya. Amalai, so the Chacham say, but other maybe as vachla yohim and nesachim come out asari yomim. He says, how could you say that the Nesachim is becoming mutter because of the carbon? You could bring the Nesachim 10 days later. So you can't say it became in the time when you were being makriv the carbon. The Nesachim didn't become it didn't become niskadish.
Who says it has to be the same day? Maybe
it can become if you're saying it's totally in the zevach in the shlamim and the behema. So it has to be b'shas hazevach. The nesachim have to be there. But if it's not there, it's not becoming the skadish from the zevach. It doesn't exist yet. So how could you say the nesachim becomes mutter because of a zevach? So therefore, they said it's not connected, and nesachim cannot become. The chacham say it cannot become bigel. I agree with you. If the Nesachim happens 10 days later, it's not becoming mutter because of the Zevach. It didn't exist. It didn't become the Skadish at the time of the Zevach. It didn't exist at the time of the Zevach. It has to be the same time. It didn't even exist till 10 days later. So says the Gemara, I agree with you, says Abmeyer. But when I said it does become a pigul, I was talking about he brought the Zevach together. So when they are together, he holds that the Zevach is being mated in the Nesachim. Says the Gemara, so we have a kasha. This Baraisa is Seisim and Ayubei. By Pigul, by Shemen, what do we pass in like Shem Shemetzeira that he's going to be chai because of pigel? That means shaman is the shaman. We're going according to Abneir. It was brought together, right? That's why it becomes pigel. It was brought together with the zevach, so the zevach was mated the pigel, and the pigel, I'm sorry, mated the shaman, and if he had the wrong machshava, it becomes pigel. But by Nesachim, you said it doesn't become pigel. That means you're going according to the Chacham. How could it be? Nesachim and Shemen are the same.
They said Nesachim not?
No, Rameir says yeah, but it's the Brisa says the Shemen becomes pigel and the Nesachim do not become pigel.
But Shemen you can't bring days later?
Shemen,
Same way like
sure
Nesachim?
you could.
Also.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. It's identical. That's why it looks. It's like Seisa B'nei Yubei. By Shemen you say you paskin the Mishnah paskins it's pigel. And by the Nesachim, you said it's not pigel. Why? Obviously, you're going according to the Rabbanan, who said it's not pigel. Because the Rabbanan say, if there's a time that it doesn't have to be together, so even when they're together, it's not considered as being matir. It's not connected. So the Seif is going according to the Rabbanan, the ratio that says Shem is Rabmeir, that Shem becomes pigel is Rabmeir. Rabbi Yosef said, "Oh, Mani, Rabbi, who's this Mishnah following? Rabbi." The Amma that he says like Shem Shal Mitzvah Matneisu Shorelei. Rabbi has a different concept. Rabbi says Shemen becomes mutter to a whole different way. Has nothing to do with the Zevachim. It has to do by the Shemen. They would take the Shemen and spray it 7 times. Keneged Kodesh HaKadoshim. When they sprayed those oils, then it became mutter to put it on the ear, the finger, and if there was leftovers on the head of the next thing towards the Kodesh. Yeah, no, it meant towards right. You're right. So he says Shemen has a different head. It has nothing to do with the dam of a Osham. Completely nothing. The Shemen itself, they sprayed 7 times. Since these matanis of Shemen is being mated, so it could become pigel. So those matanis become pigel. Says he wanted the Tanya that we learned in Abraisa. Like Shemen Shalt Mitzerish, Ma'ilim Bay, Ache Yisig Adam. It says that the loik of Shemen Mitzera, if he has a no before it became mutter through the Zikas Adam, then he's over Me'ila. You're not allowed. It's the Hekdesh. It didn't become mutter yet. It's Kodesh. It's Mila. Nizik Adam. If the blood of the Ashma was sprayed, loy nanim loy ma'ilin. You're not allowed to have a no, but you're not over Me'ila, because the Rabbanon say it was matter to a degree, so therefore it's not going to be Me'ila. Rabbi Yomer Moyelin, you're being Moyel, that's number 1. Ad Sheyid Matneisav, he says beferish that what's materit? The spray of the oil. The oil. He said the oil had its own spray according to Rav Meir. And that's the only first time that it's if he sprayed the dam, Rav Meir says it's still Me'ila. If you ate the shemen, because the dam was not matter the shemen. He says the shemen is matter the shemen. The 7 hazois towards the Kodesh HaKadoshim of shemen is matter. So if the shemen, so you have an idea that shemen is different, has its own thing that's matter. Vishavin and the Chacham maskim that the Chacham and Rabbi maskim that the shemen is also achila. Ache yitin matan sheva matan behinas. Till he gives the kohen sprays the 7 hazois towards the Kodesh HaKadoshim and puts the shemen on the guf hametzera, then it becomes mutter. But before that, not. Abru Kamed Rabbi Yemir. They said this sheet, this beautiful answer of Rabbi before Rabbi Yemir. Amar, Rabbi Yemir said, who said this? Rabbi Yosef. Gavra Rabbi Rabbi Yosef Leibikah Milsa. Such a great person like Rabbi Yosef say such a thing. It doesn't make sense. Hare lug habab if they atzmait lukaliyam matnos shorelei. A lug of shemen. Nothing to do with the carbon. Everybody holds that the matana, the spraying of the shemen, is materit. But it doesn't become pigel. He says, and how did Rabbi Yosef say, since it's materit, it automatically becomes pigel? It doesn't. It says maybe when it gave to Meila, you're not chayv Meila, but pigel not. The Tanya we learned in the Brisa. Loik Shem Shem Tzerich Hayam Alam Mishum Pigol Mepnei Shadam Matir Lebehaines Divrei Ameya. The Ameya says Yechayev Pigol, and why does Ameya say it's Chayev Pigol? Because the dam of the Asham was matir the oil. Maybe the person is allowed, the meaning of Mitzvah is allowed to bring Hashem Ashav, and the loig of the Shemim become Asar Yom. So how could you say that the dam of the Asham was matir the loig? The loig could be brought 10 days later. I said only if it came together with the Asham, then the dam of the Asham is being matir the Shabbat. But not if it's brought later, of course not. So the Gemara. So, but before Mamish from this Mishnah, you see that the oil is not matir. Really follows the Braisa follows the Shita of Meya that look Shamem when it comes with the Asham together, it's going to be matir. Okay. So the meaning, if the Zevach became a pigol, then they too. So Luke Shamash Mitzvah is talking about when he brought it together. Sami Mekan Nesachim, and you have to erase Nesachim. It's not a stira. Nesachim, the halach will be, if it's together with the Asham, there will be pigol, and if it's not.
You can bring it later.
Right, and you don't say automatic it's not pigol, it's shy to become pigol also. So when the Bryce said it's not going to become pigol, erase it. Don't erase nothing. With Tana and learn like this in the Braisa. If the Hashem was brought together with the Hashem, who adil nesachim habayim im hazevach, so too if the nesachim was brought with the zevach, you just have to add it, and it will make sense. So then there is pigol. Had Tana and then learn nesachim habayim ifnei atzmam. If the nesachim was brought 10 days later after the zevach. Who had the like how Bob if they after so to the look Shabbat that was brought 10 days after, then it's not going to be pigol. Okay, that's it. That's how we learn. Chatasayif. So the one chatasayif. Doma mates psara. Lachin sakanam. The blood makes it mutter. How do we know this? It says it says in the pasuk. Zeli yilachav mikadosh kedosh min haish. And it says kol kabarim lekol minchas lekol chatos lekol hashomam. It says many times kol. So he learns like this. The Tani Levi says kol. Let's start off with the first kol kabanim. The extra kol l'rabis like shemen shaltz mitzeda comes to include that a like shemen mitzeda, which is also called carbon, has a din like all other kabanis. That the shiyari, the leftovers, go to the garden. Okay, by the oil. I would have thought to say, only that's something that's burned by the fire and is left over. That's the type of leftovers that go to a kohen. But anything behind but this mincha is not from this like shemen, wasn't put onto a fire and then there was leftovers for the kohanim to take. It had nothing to do with the fire. So I would have thought the kohanim don't get it. Kamashkon that they do. The whole lug of oil. Now, l'chol ben chasam. It says l'chol ben chasam. What does that kol teaches? L'habis minchasayim and minchak nois. Minchasayim is mater, the new atua. Minchak nois is to be mavarer that she didn't commit adultery. So I would have thought which kabanis is given to the kanim to eat. Only such kabanis that are there for the shem kapara. But minchasayim lahater asir. The minchasayim is only to be mated the tvua chadasha. Or minchas kenois is also not the kapara. Levar to clarify that she didn't commit adultery. If she drinks it and the stomach plots, she committed. It doesn't plot. So it's a kanias. Yeah, kamash milan. He comes to teach us. Even though it's not the shem kapara, it's still going to be eaten by the kanim. L'chol chatosam. Without this chatzoif, there was no shchita. So I would have thought it's a nevela. So how could that chamina that nevela he has a thing as a nevela, and because he does it with there's no shchita, so he doesn't get the kanim don't get to eat it. L'chol chatosim comes to tell you even chatzoif the kanim get. L'chol hasham the last one. L'chol hasham l'rabis asham nazir v'asham etzera. Asham nazir is brought that if he got tomei in the middle of the Nazirus, he has to bring the Hashem Nazir to be able to start over the whole count again. Hashem Mitzvah.
30 days, maybe?
Yeah, another 30 days, yes. Asher Mitzvah is brought when he's get healed. I would have thought, so these Hashemis are coming to be machshir, not to be mechaber. To be machshir, that he should be able to start counting again, or to be machshir, the Mitzvah, to be able to eat kachim. So therefore, since it's not kapara, I would have thought that the kohen doesn't get to eat it. Kamash Malani comes to tell us that the kohen does get to eat it. In fact, you want to Hashem Mitzvah behedik sibay. Hashem Mitzvah is with me finished that it's eaten by the Kohanim. Like it says, Ki kachatas Hashem l'kohen. So why does the Brisa say we learn it out from the drasha of Ulachola Hashem? And the Gemara Ella only we have to be Makia. Fix the Brisa Larabis Hashem Nazir Ka Hashem Mitzvah Hashem Mitzvah to include Hashem Nazir that it has a din. Like Hashem Mitzvah, but Hashem Mitzvah, yeah, you're right. It's behedik. So Gemara now brings the rest of the words of the Brisa. Then the pasuk Asher Yashiva Li Kaitz Kedach Hu Levanachal. So Asher Yashuva Li is coming to teach us Gezel Hager that if somebody stole from the Ger and he lied and then he was made meaning that he didn't return the Gzela. And then he came and he was made that he stole the Gzela, and the Goyal doesn't have any inheritors. So then the halach is that it goes to the Kahanim. L'chahu, to teach us that the Gezel Hager Shalachah, meaning it belongs to the Kahanim. Yiyah l'chol dav afil kadosh b'saish. It's his for everything. It's mamish like chayil, that he can use it even to acquire a woman, to be mekadosh a woman. Tanya, we learned in the Brayz when they get to the Chatas HaPnim is Mishum Rabbi Yossi Aguli Pigul B'Davish Hanas B'Chutz. Pigul is only going to be Pigul mean the Machshava has to be on something that happened outside, and Pigul B'Davish Hanas B'Fnim. And it helps the Machshava to be Mafagel that carbon, even though the Pigul, the Avodah that where he had that he had thought about, or the Achila which he had thought about, were things that were done in the Heichel. So if it's Davar Hanas B'Fnim, if the Avodah was Avodah that he had a machshava either of the Achila or either of things that are done in the anything that's done in the Heichel, like Pigul, then the machshava Pigul will not help. Ketzad. What's the case? Says the Kohen was he was standing outside the Azara. And he said, "Behold, I'm shachting this carbon on the condition to spray the blood, but in the Heichal, even though he's standing outside. Loy pigul, it's not pigul. Shemachshava bachutz, having this machshava, even though while he's standing outside, about something that's happening inside, loy pigul is not pigul. So to Hayayim B'fnim. If he was standing inside the Heichal, Ba'amar, and he said, Hareini Maza al Manas Lahakta Emunah Lishpeich Shirayim Lamachar. He's standing inside, and he says, Behold, I am spraying from the blood of the carbon on the condition to burn the Emunim and to pour the Shirayim of Dam on the Mizbeich HaChitza. Even though Machshav is about Chitza, but he's standing inside. So if he's oimer b'fnim, loy pigul, it's not going to be pigul, because you need side the machshava and side the place where he's standing should be b'chutz. Shekei machshava b'fnim, b'davar hanas b'chutz, because a machshava that was about b'fnim, machshava happened inside, but about a inyan that the machshava, the thought is about something that's happening outside. Then I'm sorry, loy pigul, because the machshava was about something that in the Eichel. But even though the machshava happened in the Heichel about something bachutz, but if he was standing bachutz, but if he was standing outside and he says, I'm shechting the carbon on the condition to pour the shirayim of the blood on the Mizbeich HaChitzayin, so he was standing b'chitzayin, and Machshav was about throwing the rest of the remnants of the blood the next day, which is already pigul, but on the Mizbeach HaChitzain, or to burn the emurim on the Mizbeach HaChitzain after the Zman, L'macha, then it's pigul. Because the machshav is happening outside about something that happened b'chutz. Which passage do we learn this meaning? It says, "Kasha Yudah Mishor Zevach Hashlamim," like you separated from the Shei Zevach Hashlamim. What din is there to learn out from the Shlamim for a Parkoin HaMashiach? He's saying you're learning out from the Parkoin HaMashiach from Shlamim, but again the Haramas Emurav. All the Emurim of a Parkoin HaMashiach, all the dinim are detailed befedish by Parkoin HaMashiach. So what does it mean, Parkoin HaMashiach? You're learning out from Shlamim. Only this passage has come to teach us Makish Parkoin HaMashiach l'Shei Zevach Hashlamim. To compare Parkoin HaMashiach to Shei Zevach Hashlamim, Ma Shei Zevach Hashlamim, At Shei Maisav Machshavaisav Al Mizbeach HaChitzen, till the avodas that he thought at the time, meaning the avodas that he had thought at the time were Machshavas Pigol, and Machshavaisav, the achiles that he had to do it Shalei Bizmanon, Al Mizbeach HaChitzen or Kaponim outside the Eichel, Aparkoy Mashiach, it doesn't become Pigol, Achei Machshavaisav Maisav, till the achiles that he's thinking about them, Shalei Bizmanon, and the avodas that he's thinking of them during the time, Al Mizbeach HaChitzen, or Michutz Leheichel. Or it's Michutz Leheichel. So according to Rabbi Yossi, pigul, there's no pigul b'chatas pnimis, only if he had a machshav b'shas shchita, or Kabbalah, or Hilacha, machshava to pour out the shiyari adam, or to burn the emurim on the Mizbeach HaChitzain, Michutz Lazmanom. But a machshava b'shas matnas adam, at the time of giving the blood, it does not help. Because those are avodas pnim. Only where will help a machshav b'shas shchita, Kabbalah, or Heilacha b'chutz. But a machshava b'shas matnas adam doesn't help because that's avodas pnim. So too with machshava about matnas adam to do shalei bizmanon, to make it pigul, it's not pigul because matan dam shalchatas pnimi, that the matnas dam of achatas pnimi is achilas pnim. This is the lashon. Let me make sure of. And this is what Rabbi Shimon Levi said. That you have to have side the machshava and side the amida b'chutz in order that it should be pigul. This is halacha which is only for Yemei HaMashiach when the Beis HaMikdash will be built. Why did Rav have to teach us this psak? According to you, we should learn either the whole Masech Zevachim. This is all halachis which is only needed in the days of Mashiach when the Beis HaMikdash will be built. Only why are we learning it? Because the Eish V'Kibul Schar, because there's a mitzvah to learn and receive schar on learning these dinim and dashing these dinim, even though it's not negei l'maisa. So too, l'gabe psak halacha rav, there is v'kabel schar, v'kabel sachar, that there's a mitzvah and schar by dashing these limudim, even though it's not negei l'maisa. So the Imam Rav Yosef explains the kavanah hakam in alei hilchas elamali. Why do we need the halacha? What's the tzedek of establishing the halacha? The vada, it's a mitzvah to learn the dini avodah and the machlekes, even though it's not negela bizman hazeh. But why do you have to establish the halacha? It's not something that's negela. It's halacha. It's not halacha l'maisa. Mishnachrina, and the Mepharshim say if they don't see a difference, Amalei, halacha kamina. He said, I'm wondering why do they have to establish halacha? It's the same like the first lashon. It's not negela ma'is, it's only negela ma'is HaMashiach, not on the basic, not on the actual learning.